Good morning, everybody. Here we are at Wiggys Outdoor Laboratory. You may remember on the website we did the indoor laboratory about a year or two ago. Now we're in the outdoor laboratory. And recently I wrote up an article and showed pictures, or a picture of a sleeping bag that I put a blowtorch to. This is the blowtorch. This is the sleeping bag. And just for the sake of good order, instead of seeing a picture, you're now seeing live. Now we're burning into the bag. And now that I turn off the blowtorch, you can see I've burned a hole in the bag. And you can see that the fiber hasn't even been scorched. I've got all kinds of reports about nylon and my fiber being tested for flammability that I didn't realize I had. But I did know that from past years it was not a combustible product. Here I have another bag which I burned in a couple of places, showing insurance company agents that we have non-combustible materials in the factory. And once again, burning it. And I trust that my photographer's able to get close enough shots showing that it's not even been charred. So that's that. Coke, why don't you come over here? I've talked about Coke in one of the newsletters. Been my partner for 32 years. He's been with me since just before Labor Day of 1988. And he has made all of the things that I dream up economically possible to sell. And so this was one thing that never came up, and so I decided to show him and write about it and now do the video. Now we've got a little fire pit here, and the reason for the fire pit is to create embers that I can put on that sleeping bag right over there. That's an Ultimate Thule sleeping bag. And people generally don't sleep under the stars when it's very cold. But if they do and they have a fire and an ember came out of the fire, they could, it landed on the sleeping bag, it may burn. And so by the way, I have never personally done what I'm about to do. And the reason I'm doing it is because probably 12, 13 years ago, a fellow in Telluride, Colorado. It was Telluride. He was using one of my bags in a treehouse, and he had some sort of a pot that he had a fire in that he would use all winter long. And I get a phone call one day that he's got a burn hole in the bag. And so I said, okay, you know, we'll see what we can do to fix it. And he sends it back. He didn't have a burn hole in the bag. He had it burned right across here. And how he got his feet out is beyond me. But the reality is, we replaced 30% of the bag for him. So based on that, since we knew that the fire didn't go anyplace, as you can see, everything is going straight down. And because there's a combustible material, the wood, it is perpetuating the burning. But it's ultimately going to self-extinguish. And what it's not doing is moving through the bag, just kind of staying in place. And I don't know if there's any other... Hey, Cookie. You all remember Cookie, don't you? My wonderful service dog. She's over here because she knows I have treats in my pocket. That's what she wanted. Anyway, the burning is very slow, showing that it is not combustible. And if you didn't have the wood and you just had a flame hitting it, it's suffocating as I mash the material. Right here you can see this burning is some of the embers with some of the synthetic material on it. You can see how quickly it goes out. Coke, you want to give me the blowtorch? Thank you. Now if we do the same, if we use the blowtorch at this end of the bag, where there is no wood that does support combustion, you can see once the flame is gone, everything is stopping. You know, I'd like to see any other company out there that sells what I call the no-sleep sleeping bags do what I have just done. Now, a number of years ago, the owner of Camp 7, after it had closed, was sued because somebody was in a trailer using one of his down bags, and somehow or other they got it on fire, and the flame moved through the down and they got burned, and he was exonerated because whatever they did was how do you say it, careless. So here I have a down bag which has never been used. The company that made this is no longer in business. They were in Brooklyn, New York. And this was supplied to the Air Force for vacuum packing and ejection seats. And when I started working with the Air Force and they used my bags, they sent me one of these things all vacuum packed so I would know what size I had to meet. And then I took it out. I've had it in my office probably for 8 or 9 years. So I decided, since I'm doing this video, to find out what happens when you ignite a down bag. So here we go. Well, as you can see, it supports combustion because there's still flame going even though I shut off. Actually, I don't know what it is that they put in here. Coke, do you want to get me some pieces of wood and we can break this up and see what it is. It's down. And as you can see, it continues to burn. And you can see it supports combustion. So this is the nature of down bags. I don't care if it's 15 years old or 20 years old as this one is. Down is down. I'll be. When my stuff burns, it doesn't give off any odors. This is giving off an odor. So all you people, now I know over the years the incidence of sleeping bags burning is very rare. However, we now know that the lamellite and the nylon bags that Wiggys makes self-extinguish. The down bag, and it makes no difference to me what company makes them, does support combustion. We have a fire extinguisher out here. We may have to use it on the down bag. You can see how this bag is continuing to burn. And it's moving underneath the nylon shell. I'll be. So, like I said, I'd like to see any other company that sells what I call no-sleep sleeping bags demonstrate to the general public what I have just demonstrated about my bags and about down bags. That's amazing. I think we should use the fire extinguisher on this thing, Coke. We're going to have to get the company in on this coming week to recharge our fire extinguisher. Burning feathers make a wonderful odor. You can see white down. Coke. Coke worked for several years at the Marmot Company. What do you think of this quality of this down?
It's not bad.
Coke says it's not bad. Did you always get white down, or was it different?
It's a white.
Always?
Yeah.
So Marmot used.
It's a goose down, so it's a cluster.
You know, Coke says it's goose down clusters. You know. Anyway, I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and a video is worth 10,000 words. Now that I've destroyed 3 sleeping bags, 4 sleeping bags, and they're no longer burning, they will go into the trash. So, for all of you that see this video, if you have any questions for me, just email me. But I think that what we've displayed here is pretty obvious. Without support of something like wood on a Wiggy bag, they self-extinguish because the materials are non-combustible. So I can see why the person who accomplished burning themselves inside their trailer with the down bag had a problem, because if you have less down, you know, they say the high quality down with 700 or 800 or 900 fill capability, and they're using real lightweight 30 denier nylons, so it puffs up real high. Well, what you have is a lot more air in there, and with a lot more air you have a lot more combustion. It's as simple as that. Well, I hope you've enjoyed being in the Wiggys Outdoor Laboratory today. And I was thinking about setting up a tent to see what happens if the tent catches on fire and somebody's in the tent in a Wiggy bag, if there'd be enough material to fall down on the bag that would cause it to burn. But since tents are made out of nylon, they're inherently not terribly flammable. So I'll have to give that more consideration. And if I do it sometime in the future, I'll let you know. Well, thank you for watching, and have a pleasant day wherever you are.